What's coming up?
Breaking religious superstitions.
There we go. It's coming up. Refresh this one, see if it comes up here. Yep, we're live. Okay, we're live with everybody. Let me start the recording over here real quick. Cool. I'm changing so many things, it's hard to keep up with everything. Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we are going to continue our study. Can't get my tongue untied. On the Urantia Book. We're in paper 150. We're starting paper 150, and that starts on page 1678 in the original book, or 150-01 and all the rest of them. And the paper's name this week is The Third Preaching Tour. And this was Jesus's commission to the women apostles, and he broke religious superstitions by allowing women to become apostles. And this is their journey. So let me change the slide here. Here we go. Paper 150, The Third Preaching Tour. On Sunday evening, January 16th, AD 29, Abner with the apostles of John reached Bethsaida and went into joint conference with Andrew and the apostles of Jesus the next day. Abner and his associates made their headquarters at Hebron and were in the habit of coming to Bethsaida periodically for these conferences. Now, remember, Abner was the head of the apostles of John, okay? And he had 12 apostles too. And their station was in Hebron, and that continued on way after Jesus was resurrected and everything. They still had a group down in Hebron, but Abner ended up becoming the head of the Church of Philadelphia. And it was the Church of Philadelphia, and under Abner's leading, that stayed true to the gospel longer than any other church.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long, long time. So that's good to know. So he came up and had conferences with Jesus and his apostles pretty regularly. And this is the map this is map 26. This shows everywhere that they went during this third preaching tour. And that's another one. Okay. Diane, you want to take the next one, dear?
Among the many matters considered by this joint conference was the practice of anointing the sick with certain forms of oil in connection with prayers for healing. Again, did Jesus decline to participate in their discussions or to express himself regarding their conclusions? The apostles of John had always used the anointing oil in their ministry to the sick and afflicted, and they sought to establish this as a uniform practice for both groups. But the apostles of Jesus refused to bind themselves by such a regulation.
You're muted.
Sorry about that, John. I said, why do you think Jesus's apostles refused to do this? Think about that for a second. Because Jesus taught the apostles about not heeding to superstition, and that's what this was, a superstition. So that's why the apostles refused to do it. Okay? It was part of Jesus's teaching not to do such things. And even though it was part of Jesus's teachings not to do such things, what happened? Paul comes along, and the early Catholic Church went right back to it again, didn't they? So much for trying to straighten them out. Well, this is a strange paragraph, isn't it? Pam, would you take this one?
On Tuesday, January 18th, the 24, well, it's almost January 18th. The 24 were joined by the tested evangelists, about 75 in number, at the Zebedee house in Bethsaida, preparatory preparatory to being sent forth on the third preaching tour of Galilee. This third commission continued for a period of 7 weeks.
Okay, so that went on for about 7 weeks. And Pam, would you take the next one too? Don't get off that easy.
Sure. The evangelists were sent out in groups of 5. While Jesus had the 12 travel together, most of the time the apostles going out 2 and 2 to baptize believers as occasion required. For a period of almost 3 weeks, Abner and his associates also worked with the evangelistic groups, advising them and baptizing believers. They visited Magdala, Tiberias, Nazareth, and all the principal cities and the villages of central and southern Galilee, all the places previously visited, and many others. This was their last message to Galilee, except to the northern portions.
Okay, so we remember that John's apostles always baptized. So when John's apostles went out with the evangelists, they actually took up the position of baptizing new believers as they came into the fold. Okay, all right. And Rodney, I got a little short one for you here.
Yeah, great. It's a little bit fuzzy. There.
Is it?
No, it's good.
Okay.
Okay. 1, the women's evangelistic corps. Of all the daring things which Jesus did in connection with his earth career, the most amazing was his sudden announcement on the evening of January 16th. On the morrow, we will set apart 10 women for the ministering work of the kingdom. At the beginning of the 2 weeks period during which the apostles and the evangelists were to be absent from Bethsaida on their furlough, Jesus requested David to summon his parents back to their home and to dispatch messengers calling to Bethsaida 10 devout women who had served in the administration of the former encampment and the tented infirmary. These women had all listened to the instruction given the young evangelist, but it had never occurred to either themselves or their teachers that Jesus would dare to commission women to teach the gospel of the kingdom and minister to the sick. These 10 women selected and commissioned by Jesus were Susanna, the daughter of the former Shazan of Nazareth, of the Nazareth synagogue; Joanna, the wife of Chuza, the steward of Herod Antipas; Elizabeth, the daughter of a wealthy Jew of Tiberias and Sepphoris; Martha, the elder sister of Andrew and Peter; Rachel, the sister-in-law of Jude, the master's brother in the flesh; Nasanta, the daughter of Elman, the Syrian physician; Melcha, a cousin of the apostle Thomas; Ruth, the eldest daughter of Matthew Levi; Celta, the daughter of a Roman centurion; and Agamon, a widow of Damascus. Subsequently, Jesus added 2 other women to this group, Mary Magdalene and Rebecca, the daughter of Joseph of Arimathea.
So that ended up being 12 altogether, didn't it? I think it was 10 to start out with and end up 12. And notice that Mary Magdalene was not the head of these women. You see that? Like everybody tries to make her the head. It was Susanna who was the chief of the women things, even though even though Mary Magdalene became the most prominent preacher among the group.
Like
Okay.
Peter.
Like Peter. That's right. That's
So
right.
this was the Mary Magdalene who had um been a prostitute?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
We're
Same
about
Mary
to read
Magdalene.
about her.
And
oh,
notice Rebecca, who's the daughter of Joseph of Arimathea. You know who?
Arimathea.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you know who that was?
no,
Y'all remember?
no.
He was the one that ended up getting
Jesus'
Jesus's
body.
body with, I can't remember. I'm gone blank.
With the old man, with the old
Nicodemus.
Nicodemus.
Nicodemus. That's correct.
Uh-huh.
Remember that? But it was his daughter that became one of these evangelists. I wanted to point that out. Okay. So the whole family was in close contact with Jesus and his ministry. Jesus authorized these women to effect their own organization. He let them organize themselves, just like the apostles, right? And
Hmm.
directed Judas to provide funds for their equipment and for their pack animals. The 10 selected Susanna as their chief and Joanna as their treasurer. From this time on, they furnished their own funds. Never again did they draw upon Judas for support. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
They
Isn't that
probably,
interesting?
From their
once they
families?
dealt with Judas, they didn't want to deal with him any longer.
Probably didn't, but I think
No,
it's quite interesting that the women were able to support themselves totally compared to the other apostles, right?
Well, do you think they got their money from their families?
I think they were just more efficient, to be
Hmm.
honest, you know?
Yeah, but where did they get the money? You mean
Re-
from preaching and accepting?
Preaching, accepting
Ah,
donations,
yeah,
doing little jobs, probably sewing and
I
gathering
see.
fish and fixing meals and, whatever they could do to
Yeah,
provide funds. And when they did these things, people would donate funds to help support them, right?
yeah.
So they created their own funds from that point off. Oh my gosh, who's this man coming up here?
yeah.
Letch, how you doing? See
Hey,
you.
let's.
Hello.
Hey, Letch.
All right,
Hi.
so they supported themselves. All right. Let's see who's up next. Well, Letch would be up next. Are you ready yet, Lex?
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It was most astounding in that day when women were not even allowed on the main floor of the synagogue, being confined to the women's gallery, to behold them being recognized as authorized teachers of the new gospel of the kingdom. The charge which Jesus gave these 10 women as he set them apart for gospel teaching and ministry was the Emancipation Proclamation, which set free all women and for all time. No more was man to look upon woman as his spiritual inferior. This was a decided shock to even the 12 apostles. Notwithstanding, they had many times heard the Master say, "And in the kingdom of heaven there is neither rich nor poor, free nor bond, male nor female. All are equally the sons and daughters of God." They were literally stunned when he proposed formally to commission these 10 women as religious teachers and even to permit their traveling about with them. The whole country was stirred up by this proceeding, the enemies of Jesus making great capital out of this move. But everywhere the women believers in the good news stood staunchly behind their chosen sisters and voiced no uncertain approval of this tardy acknowledgement of women's place in religious work. And this liberation of women giving them due recognition was practiced by the apostles immediately after the Master's departure, albeit they fell back to the olden customs in subsequent generations. Throughout the early days of the Christian church, women teachers and ministers were called deaconesses and were accorded general recognition. But Paul, despite the fact that he conceded all this in theory, never really incorporated it into his own attitude and personally found it difficult to carry out in practice.
So Jesus liberated women, okay, set them apart so that they were as equal as men. In one generation of Paul, he comes back and puts an inks on everything that Jesus did. Okay. You see why I have issues with Paul?
Yeah.
Well, not everything.
Yes.
Huh?
Not everything.
Not everything Paul did, but I have issues with a good portion of what Paul did.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is one of the many things, because the early Christian church, by the time of the Bible being put together, New Testament being put together, all mention of women becoming deaconesses and all that, none of it made it into any of the canonization of the Bible, did it?
Right.
Not one word. All right. And that was done on purpose because of people like Paul. All right.
Mhm.
Okay. The stop at Magdala. As the apostolic party journeyed from Bethsaida, the women traveled in the rear. During the conference time, they always sit in the group in front to the right of the speaker. Increasingly, women have become believers in this gospel of the kingdom and have been a source of much difficulty and no end of embarrassment when they had decided to hold personal converse with Jesus and one of the apostles. I almost said Georgia. Jesus and one of the apostles. Now, all this was changed when any of the women believers desired to see the master or confer with the apostles. They went to Susanna, and in company with one of the 12 women evangelists, they would go into the presence of the master or one of his apostles. He always encouraged them to come and ask questions if they had it, and that sort of thing. Treated them equal with men. All right. Sweetie, would you take?
It was Magdala that the women first demonstrated their usefulness and vindicated the wisdom of their choosing. Andrew had imposed rather strict rules upon his associates about doing personal work with women, especially with those of questionable character. When the party entered Magdala, these 10 women evangelists were free to enter the evil resorts and preach the glad tidings directly to all their inmates. And when visiting the sick, these women were able to draw very close in their ministries to their afflicted sisters. As the result of the ministry of these 10 women, afterwards known as the 12 women, at this place Mary Magdalene was one for the kingdom. Through a succession of misfortunes, and in consequence of the attitude of reputable society during women who commit such errors of judgment, this woman had found herself in one of the nefarious resorts of Magdala. Magdala. It was Martha and Rachel who made plain to Mary that the doors of the kingdom were open to each such as she. Mary believed the good news and was baptized by Peter the next day.
You're on mute.
Trouble is here.
So yeah, I saw Treble line log in there. This is where the 10 became 12. Her and of course Joseph of Arimathea's daughter became the other one. All right, it's interesting too that when Mary Magdalene was converted, she had a very hard and rough life. She was like in the pits of society, right? And her conversion made such an impression on her, she became one of the most vocal and best preachers of the gospel. Okay. And because she was so vocal and she was such a good preacher, down through time, people have tried to associate her as having a relationship with Jesus, and that was totally false.
Right.
Okay. And I wanted to make sure that that's clear. You know, everybody said that she had Jesus's baby and all that. No, never happened. You know, this is all fantasy and it makes for good novels and writing, but it's not true. So I want to make sure we clear that up. All right. Pam, would you take the next one?
Mary Magdalene became the most effective teacher of the gospel among this group of 12 women evangelists. She was set apart for such service, together with Rebecca at Jotapata. Such service together, about 4 weeks subsequent to her conversion. Mary and Rebecca, with the others of this group, went on through the remainder of Jesus' life on earth, laboring faithfully and effectively for the enlightenment and uplifting of their downtrodden sisters. And when the last and tragic episode in the drama of Jesus' life was being enacted, notwithstanding the apostles all fled but one, these women were all present, and not one either denied or betrayed him.
They
So
were loyal.
they were loyal. They were braver than the apostles themselves. And I got a couple pictures there. These different things. This is
Anybody know what happened to her?
she died.
Okay.
Yeah.
I set
I'm
myself up.
sorry.
Real bad.
I
So
couldn't
what is this a
resist.
picture of?
That's what I was fixing to go down here and tell y'all. Give me a second. I have a description of it down here.
You know, Roger, I have a dog.
Coco.
No, do you know
This
what
is
happened to her after Jesus died?
Yeah, she went on
Wow.
preaching, and they got a place in here later on in the book. They say exactly where she went and where she died and stuff. So I don't
Hmm.
remember off the top of my head, of course, to my little pea brain, you know.
But she wasn't martyred.
She was not martyred. No. Okay. As far as I know. Um, this is Migdal in Hebrew, and the current name of Magdala, a city on the shore of Galilee between Tiberias. Hang on, I have to go down. And Capernaum.
Wow.
All right. And this is Mary Magdalene's house, according to tradition. This is all that's left of it.
It's the
And
cake.
if you look up our meeting on this paper from 2016, that's the cover picture for the. No, I changed it today, actually. It was the cover picture. Actually, I changed it today because nobody knew what it was. All
Mhm.
right. And this is the ruins of the ancient city of Magdala. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm changing my picture. This is Mary Magdalene's home. That's all that was
Oh.
left of it.
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
All right.
wondering how they could have such a,
Y-
you know.
Yeah, it's the ruins. Yeah, and this is the village of Magdala. All right.
Wow.
This is another one. All right.
The people must be
And
awful short.
this is supposed to be the apostle Bartolomeo. Anyway, this is the name of one of the apostles, and I had to look and look and look and find out which one it was, and I don't remember which one it was. But this
Oh,
is what he's called by the Christian church. And let me look real quick. I was trying to think if I remember off the top of my
You
head.
called him an apostle?
Nathaniel.
Yes, he was this name
Bartholomew.
Bartholomew. Yep,
Nathaniel.
Nathaniel. Yeah, I think so. Okay, and this is a painting from 1490 to 1495. Okay. And this is a panel of Mary Magdalene preaching. Okay.
It's when she got older.
Yeah, but this is in 14, these all these paintings are around the 1400s. So, all right. And this is, let me see if I can bring this one up because I can't read this one. Oh, here we go. It's in French, so I can't read it anyway.
If it was bigger, I could read it.
Yeah. And this is another one of Nathaniel. Okay. All right. Next up, the Sabbath at Tiberias. And who's up next?
I think I am.
Rodney? Go for it.
The Sabbath services of the apostolic party had been put into the hands of the women by Andrew upon instructions from Jesus. This meant, of course, that they could not be held in the new synagogue. The women selected Joanna to have charge of this occasion, and the meeting was held in the banquet room of Herod's new palace, Herod being away in residence at Julius in Perea. Joanna read from the scriptures concerning women's work in the religious life of Israel, making reference to Miriam, Deborah, Esther, and others.
Did y'all notice that they were not allowed in the synagogue?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
There
they
was
could.
a special room for them.
Yeah, but they couldn't leave services like they did. And why would they go to Herod's palace?
Because he
Because
wasn't there.
he wasn't there, and one of the women that worked for Herod became one of these 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Letch, would you take the next one?
Okay. Late that evening, Jesus gave the united group a memorable talk on magic and superstition. In those days, the appearance of a bright and supposedly new star was regarded as a token indicating that a great man had been born on earth. Such a star having then recently been observed, Andrew asked Jesus if these beliefs were well founded. In the long answer to Andrew's question, the master entered upon a thoroughgoing discussion of the whole subject of human superstition. The statement which Jesus made at this time may be summarized in modern phraseology as follows.
Okay, so let's give a little cheater here. Does that mean that the star that appeared at Jesus's birth had anything to do with Jesus?
No.
No.
Of course not. That's superstition, right? It's a good story, but it's not true.
And it didn't appear at his birth.
No,
It appeared before and after.
well before, right? Okay, I just want to point that out. So let's go on to his statements. Gary, would you take the next one?
1. The courses of the stars in the heavens have nothing whatever to do with the events of human life on Earth. Astronomy is a proper pursuit of science, but astrology is a mass of superstitious error which has no place in the gospel of the kingdom.
Okay, yeah, we're going to upset a lot of people with this, but
Yeah.
if you read your horoscope in the paper, you're following.
Doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean whatsoever, and doesn't matter what month you're born in or what year you're born in or anything else. Now, the Chinese have a whole different way to look at this. They have animals associated with when you were born, what year and stuff. It's all superstition, and it has no place in the gospel of the kingdom. So if you have astrology stuff in your house, get rid of it. It's superstition. Doesn't matter if you're born under one sign or another. Okay. Gary just read that one. That makes me up. 2, the examination of the internal organs. This is really crazy. An animal recently killed can reveal nothing about weather, future events, or the outcome of human
Oh my
affairs.
gosh.
They really believe
No,
this stuff,
Wow.
People actually do.
Yeah, I
no.
mean, they'd cut animals open and see what their intestines look like and try to predict the future from it.
Mhm.
I
Well,
never heard that one before.
yeah, that's there's still people that do that in some countries.
Mhm.
All right, Diane, take the next one there.
3, the spirits of the dead do not come back to communicate with their families or their one-time friends among the living.
Can anybody explain why this is true?
Because it's not true.
Because you're in the mansion worlds and you can't come back for 1,000 years.
Or you're asleep waiting for the resurrection. One of the two, right? So how
Yeah.
are you going to communicate with the dead people around you? You can't. When you leave your body, there is no communication by you to any single person. You don't have a physical body anymore to manifest anywhere, so there's no ghost. All right, so you can't communicate with your dead mama, papa, brother, sister, dog, whatever, you know. It's just
Well,
it does not happen. It's funny because I watched this show last night that I recorded, Generation X, I think it's called, and they were at some gold town, out west, and they were trying to. Every time I watch one of these, I just get such a kick out of it because they think they're talking to ghosts and things with these little machines and stuff, and it's all poppycock. All right.
I think that, the people who are clairvoyants, because my sister-in-law, for instance, had lost her first husband through cancer, and she went to someone and, was saying that he loves it in Colorado, and that's what he told her, that he would be in Colorado. And I think that the clairvoyants pick up what's in your mind,
Yeah, that probably that may
you
be the
know.
case, but I
Yeah.
don't think heaven's in Colorado. To
You
Yeah.
be
know, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
What's that, Gary?
What Pam said, that the
Oh,
clairvoyant is basically telling you what's in your mind.
Yeah, they're
what's in
picking
the
up
other
your
person's
vibes. They're
mind?
not
Yeah.
picking up anybody else. They're not here.
I got
Okay.
one for you. My mother, who has no knowledge of this at all, had no knowledge of this at all, told me that my dad visited her and told her he just wanted to see her, but he had to go back to work or he'd get in trouble.
No.
Yeah, well, if he's here, he was in trouble.
And, you know, and my mother would not know anything about, she was raised Catholic and,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. And she wouldn't, you know, wouldn't, for her to make that statement that he had to go back to work, I was just, made me start to think. Because she had no, I mean, I never talked to her about this book. This was,
yeah.
something
Well,
I'd put in
folks,
her.
if you're seeing ghosts in your house, you need to get your house checked for gases and stuff like that because you're hallucinating. Let me put it that way. Okay, that's about as plain as I can put it. All right, let's go into the next one. Um, Pam, I think you're back up. Didn't you just
I
read?
just read.
Pam, you're back up.
Okay, 4, charms and relics are impotent to heal disease, ward off disaster, or influence evil spirits. The belief in all such material means of influencing the spiritual world is nothing but gross superstition.
So much for the Exorcist, huh?
Yeah.
This garbage. All right. And this is an amulet. I put a couple of these in here so you can see what they're talking about. Amulet of a male demon is supposed to be hung in the room to keep demons away. All
Wow,
right.
I wouldn't want to look at that.
And here's some other, yeah, other things you can hang
Mhm.
around your house that don't work. Right. And here's another one.
Oh,
I have all kinds of these. Yeah. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. This one I think I saw on Ancient Aliens or something like that. Here's another amulet, and it's got cuneiform written on it. All right. So there's another one. These are all good luck charms and things that don't work. Okay. So, Rodney, would you take the next one?
Yes. 5. Casting lots. While it may be a convenient way of settling many minor difficulties, is not a method designed to disclose the divine will. Such outcomes are purely matters of material chance. The only means of communion with the spiritual world is embraced in the spirit endowment of mankind, the indwelling spirit of the Father, together with the outpoured spirit of the Son and the omnipresent influence of the infinite spirit.
That's the only communication you have. So if you do, scissor, rock, paper, scissors, it means nothing. Right?
Yeah.
All right. It's just chance. Tried to use the wrong mouse again. Okay, Letch, would you take the next one?
Okay. Divination, sorcery, and witchcraft are superstitions of ignorant minds, as also are the delusions of magic. The belief in magic numbers, omens of good luck, and harbingers of bad luck is pure and unfounded superstition.
Boy, they kind of knocked all of them down, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Just call them ignorant or superstitions of ignorant minds. So educate yourself, right?
Mhm.
Gary,
Yeah.
would you take the next?
7. The interpretation of dreams is largely a superstitious and groundless system of ignorant and fantastic speculation. The gospel of the kingdom must have nothing in common with the soothsayer priests of primitive religion.
So no matter what you dream, it means nothing, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's got nothing to do with reality, and it's not going to tell you anything. All right. 8, the spirit of good or evil cannot dwell within material symbols of the day of clay, wood, or metal. Idols are nothing more than the materials of which they are made, so they don't mean a thing. So if you wear something around your neck, it's doesn't have any power. All right.
9. The practices of the enchanters, the wizards, the magicians, and the sorcerers were derived from the superstition of the Egyptian and Eurasians, the Babylonians, and the ancient Canaanites. Amulets and all sorts of incantations are futile, either to win the protection of good spirits, or to ward off supposed evil spirits.
Okay, so y'all, when they dig up all these graves, yeah, in the pyramids and all this other stuff, do you think any of that stuff has any meaning whatsoever that's in there? No, no,
No.
it's really not. It's not hardly worth the gold they made it out of, most of it, right? All right. Pam.
Mhm. 10. He exposed and denounced their beliefs in spells, ordeals, bewitching, cursing, signs, mandrakes, knotted cords, and all other forms of ignorant and enslaving superstitions.
Okay, okay, did he leave anything out, you think, y'all?
I think it is. Everything.
That pretty much take care of all the superstitions? All right.
He didn't say anything about a black cat.
That's right.
Yeah.
20 black cats.
Yeah.
They had some program on the other night we watched, and it was about Halloween and how black cats got some way attached, during the witch trials and that sort of thing. And it means absolutely nothing.
Of
All
course.
right. Did we just read this one, y'all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Rodney, would you take the next?
Yes. 4. Sending the apostles out 2 and 2. The The next evening, having gathered together the 12 apostles, the apostles of John, and the newly commissioned women's group, Jesus said, "You see for yourselves that the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Let us all, therefore, pray the Lord of the harvest that he send forth still more laborers into his fields. While I remain to comfort and instruct the younger teachers, I would send out the older ones 2 and 2, that they may pass quickly over all Galilee, preaching the gospel of the kingdom while it is yet convenient and peaceful." Then he designated the pairs of apostles as he desired them to go forth, and they were Andrew and Peter, James and John Zebedee, Philip and Nathanael, Thomas and Matthew, James and Judas Alphaeus, Simon Zealots, and Judas Iscariot.
Okay, so he sent them out 2 and 2 to try to cover all of Galilee, okay, while it was still peaceful. Why did he say that? Because he could foresee what was coming into the future, right? Lech, would you take the next one?
Yes. Jesus arranged the date for meeting the 12 at Nazareth, and in parting he said, "On this mission, go not to any city of the Gentiles, neither go into Samaria, but go instead to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Preach the gospel of the kingdom and proclaim the saving truth that man is a son of God. Remember that the disciple is hardly above his master, nor a servant greater than his Lord. It is enough for this disciple to be equal with his master, and the servant to become like his Lord. If some people have dared to call the master of the house an associate of Beelzebub, how much more shall they so regard those of his household? But you should not fear these unbelieving enemies. I declare to you that there is nothing covered up that is not going to be revealed. There is nothing hidden that shall not be known. What I have taught you privately, that preach with wisdom in the open. What I have revealed to you in the inner chamber, that you are to proclaim in due season from the housetops. And I say to you, my friends and disciples, be not afraid of those who can kill the body, but who are not able to destroy the soul. Rather, put your trust in him who is able to sustain the body and save the soul.
And you notice there's a little icon there at the bottom of that down there. That's another one of those changes in the book they put in there. So you can look that up if you want to on yourself. Okay, so he's basically teaching us here that everything that the apostles have been taught in private, they would soon preach freely and openly to all people. In other words, everything that Jesus has taught them was open ground, right? They could teach anything that he taught them, and they could shout it from the rooftops if they chose to do that. All right. All right. So, especially the apostles. All right. And he goes on. Gary.
You are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny.
Are you not?
Oh, are you not
Right.
2 sparrows sold for a penny? And yet,
I'm
I
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Gary. I messed it up again. Are not two, so not are you, but are not 2 sparrows. He's making a point. All right.
okay, should I start over again?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? And yet, I declare that not one of them is forgotten in God's sight. Know you not that the very hairs of your head are all numbered? Fear not, therefore you are of more value than a great many sparrows. Be not ashamed of my teachings. Go forth proclaiming peace and goodwill, but be not deceived. Peace will not always attend your preaching. I come to bring peace on earth, but when men reject my gift, division and turmoil result. When all of the families receive the gospel of the kingdom, truly peace abides in that house. But when some of the family enter the kingdom and others reject the gospel, such division can produce only sorrow and sadness. Labor earnestly to save the whole family, lest a man's foe become those of his own household. But when you have done your utmost for all of every family, I declare to you that you who loves father or let me just start over. I declare to you that he who loves father or mother more than his gospel is not worthy of the kingdom.
Did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
even your own family, if they are not part of the kingdom, they are not worthy of the gospel of the kingdom. In other words, you need to teach them all, show them the light, let them make their decisions. But if they reject the gospel, what's more important in your life? The gospel. Okay. That's a hard lesson to learn because many people are married to people that are unbelievers and live in filth and disdain and sin like it's normal, and it's not. Never was meant to be. Okay. So that's very important. All right. When the 12 had heard these words, they made ready to depart, and they did not again come together until the time of their assembling at Nazareth to meet with Jesus and the other disciples as the Master had arranged. So let's keep going. Let's see here, Diane.
You're muted, Diane.
I think he's working on it,
Yeah.
Rodney.
Go ahead, Pam, and take this one. I'm going to have to get it.
Okay. 5. What must I do to be saved? One evening at Shunem, after John's apostles had returned to Hebron, and after Jesus' apostles had been sent out two and two, when the master was engaged in teaching a group of 12 of the younger evangelists who were laboring under the direction of Jacob, together with the 12 women, Rachel asked Jesus this question: Master, what shall we answer when women ask us, what shall I do to be saved? When Jesus heard this question, he answered.
Okay, y'all know the question of this. What do you do to be saved?
I just read that.
Yeah. What's the answer?
Oh,
The question of the week.
believe in God with all your heart,
To become
have faith in
consciously
him, and treat
aware
each
that you're
other.
a son of God.
Become aware that you believe in God. Become aware that you're a son of God, and all human beings, brothers and sisters, are all part of the family, right?
Yeah.
Salvation's free. All you got to do is believe. It's faith. Okay? Let's see what Jesus has to say about this. All right, here. Rodney, did you read this?
Yes. When men and women ask, what shall we do to be saved? You shall answer, believe this gospel of the kingdom, accept divine forgiveness. By faith, recognize the indwelling Spirit of God, whose acceptance makes you a son of God. Have you not read in the scriptures where it says, "In the Lord have I righteousness and strength"? Also where the Father says, "My righteousness is nearer, my salvation is gone forth, and my arms shall enfold my people. My soul shall be joyful in the love of my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation and has covered me with a robe of his righteousness." Have you not also read of the Father that his name shall be called the Lord our righteousness? Take away the filthy rags of self-righteousness and clothe my Son with a robe of divine righteousness and eternal salvation. It is forever true. The just shall live by faith. Entrance into the Father's kingdom is wholly free, but progress, growth, and grace is essential to continuance therein.
So it's by faith we are saved, but by growing in our knowledge and grace in God, we continue therein, right? We can't stand still. You can't just be saved and say, well, I'm saved. I don't have to do anything else, right?
Right.
You have to live it.
You have to live it. You have to grow. You have to express your faith so that other people around you grow also. Okay? The growth never stops. All right, Letch, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. Salvation is the gift of the Father and is revealed by his sons. Acceptance by faith on your part makes you a partaker of the divine nature, a son or a daughter of God. By faith you are justified, by faith are you saved, and by this same faith are you eternally advanced in the way of progressive and divine perfection. By faith was Abraham justified and made aware of salvation by the teachings of Melchizedek. All down through the ages has this same faith saved the sons of men. But now has a Son come forth from the Father to make salvation more real and acceptable.
So it's because of the mission of Jesus or Christ that makes this salvation more real. All right, that's all there is to it. Gary, would you take the next one? And then Diane.
When Jesus had left off speaking, there was great rejoicing among those who had heard these gracious words. And they all went on in the days that followed, proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom with new power and with renewed energy and enthusiasm. And the women rejoiced all the more to know they were included in these plans for the establishment of the kingdom on earth.
And that was the case until Paul comes along. All right. Diane's going to take the last one for us.
In summing up his final statement, Jesus said, you cannot buy salvation. You cannot earn righteousness. Salvation is the gift of God, and righteousness is the natural fruit of the spirit-born life of sonship in the kingdom. You are not to be saved because you are a righteous life. Rather, it is that you live a righteous life because you have already been saved, have recognized sonship as the gift of God, and service in the kingdom as the supreme delight of life on earth. When men believe this gospel, which is a revelation of the goodness of God, they will be led to voluntary repentance of all known sin. Realization of sonship is incompatible with a desire to sin. Kingdom believers hunger for the righteousness and thirst for divine perfection.
You're on mute.
Again.
But
So once you realize your faith in your salvation, you no longer want to sin. You voluntarily repent of your sin because you realize that righteousness is the pathway to the divine kingdom. All right. That's all there is to it. And we are going to stop right there because we're going to take the other one next time on the evening lessons. All right, let me stop the share here and
that was good teaching.
prayer. Okay.
Letch
Anybody
hasn't
know whose
said anything for a
it is
long
to
time.
read?
What?
Me?
Now, how did that get that way?
Do you want me to say it?
You got volunteered.
Who got volunteered?
Okay. Okay.
I did?
No, no,
No,
no.
I had said that Letch
Letch
hadn't
did.
read for a long time.
All right, I'll do it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, is that why he popped out?
Yeah.
Prayer of acceptance.
No, we lost the sound. No,
I
I lost the
believe
sound again.
that
Every
God
time
is
I
my-
switch from one to the next, I lose my sound.
Mhm.
Okay. So let you go ahead and read and then wave at me when you're done so I know you finished it.
Okay. Prayer of acceptance. I believe that God is my paradise Father, and that only by faith am I saved. No sacrifice is necessary. By this same faith, I became a child of God and know that all men and women are my brothers and sisters. We know the Son of God, the sovereign of our universe of Nebadon, as Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. By allowing the will of God to become my will, I will someday stand in the presence of the Paradise Father. In the name of Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth, Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Amen. And thanks everyone for coming to see us. Please come see us again. And I'll see everybody on Thursday of this week, right?
Thursday.
All right. See
Today's
y'all.
Thursday.
Today's
All
Thursday.
right. See y'all
Mean-
later. Good night,
Tuesday.
everybody. I
Mean
can't hear you.
Tuesday?
It's Thursday.
Oh, he can't
Tuesday.
hear.
Oh, wait a minute. It is Thursday. We put the trash out today. Well, see everybody Tuesday. All
Thank
right.
you.
Y'all
Good
have a good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. We
Good
love
night.
you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.